Good morning. My name is Dr. Ira Ripstein, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Medical Education, and I'm pleased to welcome you all virtually for the most part, except for members of the class of 2025, to the Max Rady College of Medicine's inaugural exercises and white coat ceremony. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed much in the way we teach, learn, live, and celebrate occasions. We've done our best to make today's virtual inaugural day special for each member of the class of 2025 and their families, while social distancing and adhering to safety protocols, as well as following capacity restrictions and public health recommendations. Students will now enter the theater at 4 different entrances. Welcome, students. Please stand for O Canada, to be sung by Med 3 student Ariel Baujan and accompanied by Med 4 student Katrina Leong on the piano. That was a great performance. Thank you again to our students. Please be seated. It's my privilege to invite Elder Margaret Lavallee to give a blessing virtually. Margaret Lavallee is the Elder in Residence at Ongamazon, the Indigenous Institute of Health and Healing in the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences. Elder Lavallee.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, a special good morning to our students that have entered this hall. I want to congratulate all of you, each and every one of you, for this special, special moment in your life. And I want to say miigwech to invite for me to come and do the opening prayer for all of you for a good journey in your learning this next few years that you will be spending time with us. And indeed, it's a very good time, and it's a beautiful time of your life to be learning all the good things that you will be doing in this university in the Faculty of Medicine. I usually introduce myself with my spiritual name, Ujosh Kubi Kandishnikas Makwandu Dame Sagin Dunji. The name that I was honored with from the elders, the grandmothers and the grandfathers years ago was Water Lily, and I am of the Bear Clan, originally from Sagin First Nation. And I have worked with Ongomazin for a number of years now. And this is the time of the year that's very, very exciting for students when they come in to start their journey of a beautiful way of life and in a noble profession that you're entering on. Kishema do atso kanak ni mishon sinanik ni kuminanik. We ask from a good place in our hearts to give thanks for life today. Migwe cheke duang madisiwenunja. Migwe cheke duang egikshkitawe kumajibe chikendas wake. We give thanks to the Creator and the grandfathers and the grandmothers and the sacred legend keepers who walked the sacred earth before us. And we say miigwech for life today. And a special thank you for the parents and the supporters of the students that are entering this university today. It's an exciting time, it's a beautiful time. And indeed, I hope that we will meet from time to time in the halls of this university. And you're most welcome to come to Zawikwan and to meet us, Ongomazin, to meet with us at some time in your 4 years of learning here. Kijema dowe bugusenda ma, chijawena madogo, kawi bikenda swata, ninge jigano mod, nui janishnabe menanik. Creator and the grandfathers and the grandmothers, we ask for blessings for these young people who are going to be learning in a good way of how to look after, and in a humble way, look after the people that they will be doctoring in future times. So, we give thanks for the people who have studied so far and then coming into learning how to be good doctors and how they will help those that are in need for healing. And I asked from a good place in my heart, a gentle reminder that no doubt in my mind, you will be looking after our people. And I ask in a humble way that you take care of our people in a good way. For this, I ask to all of you to look kindly upon those that you care for in the area of healing. I say once again, thank you for life. Thank you for this beautiful day and this beautiful moment in these people's lives. It's an exciting time of learning. It's an exciting time of meeting new people. It's an exciting time of opening your books and studying and learning new things. This will carry you for the rest of your lives in this beautiful moment of your life. So I look forward, hopefully I'll still be here, when you graduate and you receive that special recognition that you've accomplished and succeeded in the academic world. All my relations, miigwech, kinandinawe magana. This, I say thank you, miigwech.
Thank you, Elder Lavallee. The University of Manitoba campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories, we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I would like to begin by introducing this morning's speakers. Typically, they would have been up on stage with Dean Brian Postel and me. The Honorary Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care. Dr. Michael Benarosh, President and Vice Chancellor, University of Manitoba. Dr. Perry Gray, Provincial Lead, Medical Specialist Services and Chief Medical Officer. Dr. Anna Gilmeck, Registrar, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, and Dr. Jared Bullard, University of Manitoba alumnus, Section Head of Pediatric Infectious Diseases, and liaison to the Manitoba HIV program for both pediatrics and laboratory medicine, Associate Medical Director of Canada Provincial Laboratory, and on team directing the provincial response to the COVID-19 pandemic, who will give today's Allen Class Memorial Address. I'm pleased now to introduce Dr. Brian Postel, Dean, Max Rady College of Medicine, Dean, Rady Faculty of Health Sciences, and Vice Provost, Health Sciences. Dean Brian Postel is a 1976 graduate from the University of Manitoba and will give opening remarks. He was the founding president and CEO of the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, a position he held for 10 years. Dr. Postel has also served as head of the Departments of Pediatrics and Community Health Sciences at the University of Manitoba and was the director of the J.A. Hildy's Northern Medical Unit. His research, published works, and professional involvement focus on Indigenous child health, circumpolar health, and human resource planning. Dr. Postel was inducted as a fellow in the Canadian Academy of Health Sciences in 2011, inducted into the Order of Manitoba in 2012, and appointed a member of the Order of Canada for his leadership of and involvement in the advancement of clinical and academic health care in Manitoba. Dr. Postel.
Thanks, Ira. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to also acknowledge those same guests that Ira listed for us. But it's really my pleasure to welcome the class of 2025. You should know that this is how you're going to be known for the rest of your career as a member of this class. You're part of a very diverse group that includes 61 females, 45 males, 17 Indigenous students. This is all by self-declaration, which is the highest number we've ever had. 43 of you come from families who earned less than the Canadian median income. 22 of you have come from families where English nor French were the first languages. 36 have rural roots. 35 identify themselves as visible minorities. 6 are in a Francophone stream, and 4 define themselves as non-binary. Several of you have joined this faculty having come as refugees into this country, and I think you now are a much better reflection of the community we collectively serve than perhaps we've managed over the last many decades. We've worked hard in this last decade to improve the diversity in our school, and I think you're proof of that effort. You'll teach each other, we hope, about and through your diversity, and will, as I said, face a public that you may actually reflect as a student body much more effectively than the past, and importantly, you will teach us about your diversity. You'll also befriend the people in this room and in the next cohort, and in many ways they will become your colleagues for life. You'll enjoy your future class reunions where time allows for you to have career reflections, and will always bring you back to your seat in this medical school. As we have valued EDI, we've also taken a strong stand against racism in any of its forms. Last August, we passed an anti-racism policy, which I hope you will read, called The Disruption of All Forms of Racism, and we hold all of our staff, faculty, and students, now including you, as accountable to that policy. It's also now being used as a template all across the country by groups such as the Royal College and many other universities as a way of moving this forward. So we do recognize and condemn racism in any of its forms, including the systemic racism that many of you have faced, and we need you to keep working with us to give this life. We also emphasize social accountability in this faculty. You'll experience some of that through service learning experiences in your first 2 years. We have routinely joined with Habitat for Humanity to build a home for someone in the core area. We run Discovery Day with the Canadian Medical Hall of Fame for students all across the province to learn more about what we do. We host the school science fair. We have couple of biomedical youth programs for core area students, and we run a basketball camp called Swish in our parking lots over the summer. So hopefully you'll be able to participate in all of those things. We also have a very strong connection and commitment to Indigenous health for over 50 years. The Northern Medical Unit, and now on Gomazon, has provided health services to a substantial proportion of Indigenous people in this province and in Nunavut, and also have pretty effective education and research programs related to Indigenous health that have been a very strong component of our efforts. Now, we are part of a larger faculty. We believe clearly that the future of healthcare and the effectiveness of patient care rests in more team-based approaches and activities and multidisciplinary directions for care that are only now being developed. You're part of a faculty with 5 colleges, which also include nursing, dentistry, rehab sciences, and pharmacy. And in the first 2 years, you'll be exposed to the Office of Interprofessional Collaboration. We'll work with students from each of those colleges in cohorts, doing projects both in and out of the city, and we think that all of these efforts will improve your capacity for excellent patient care. Now, we know that much as you appear to be well-dressed and very confident, that deep down inside, at least if you're thinking straight, you have this nagging fear that we're going to discover something in the next couple of years that implies you're not as smart as we thought you were when we let you in. So let me reassure you that has been the same feeling of medical students through the millennia, and in fact has many terms that describe it, but we are very confident that you have the horsepower to manage this curriculum. It'll be hard work for some of you, much harder work than you've ever experienced, The months of January through March you'll find particularly difficult in terms of the combination of winter and wear, but these things will pass. You have the capacity to get through this. You'll enter second year with a little more confidence. You'll start discovering the things you learned in first year actually start making more sense in second year. And of course, you then enter third year and clinical rotations, where once again you'll have a certain amount of terror associated with your first experiences. You will also get through that because our system is designed precisely to allow third year students and then fourth year students and then residents to progress in a sequential way through their learning experiences. And finally, you'll enter fourth year terrified of the CARMS match and final exams. So you'll be going through these cycles of fear and loathing about what's about to be thrust upon you, and ultimate joy and enjoyment in what you're learning and how wonderful it really is. So what's left after your hard work and commitment is really the development of empathy, humility, and caring, and we will be focusing with you a lot on those issues. I want you to remember there was a Harvard professor by the name of Francis Peabody in 1926 to such a gathering as we have today that said the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient. So it's an easy phrase for you to remember, and we will remind you of it with some frequency. As of today, you'll also be judged as professionals. Now that is a set of roles that's very different from having the freedom to do and say whatever you think whenever you want, that there are professional responsibilities that come with being a physician, and your interactions with others will be measured against those expectations. In particular, I want to mention social media, because we all need to remember that social media is exactly that. It's social. Once you send that send button, it's out there and cannot be retrieved. And we almost on an annual basis have difficulties because of someone using social media, often in inappropriate or offensive ways. Now, your parents and families can't be here today, but I can promise you that they will be very curious about what you're going through. How do you become a doctor? What does it take? What are you learning now? And we want you to share your experience with them generously. Remember that they changed your diapers. But very soon, sooner than you imagine, they will start asking for medical advice. 100% predictable, and the only answer you can give throughout your training, frankly, and probably, if you're careful, throughout your career, is you should see your doctor. So please don't engage in treating your family because you are beginning to gather knowledge about what they may be experiencing. Now, we'll continue to traverse COVID together. There's still much to learn about this virus. It's clearly impacted today. It will impact many other of our programming throughout the year. It will be cyclical. There will be other waves. There will be other variants. We're hoping collectively that the vaccine mandates that are evolving will suppress it sufficiently to allow us to get back into a more normal setting. I don't think it's ever going to leave us, and I'm not sure we'll ever achieve what we once thought was normal. But we'll do our best to keep you safe. There will be modifications that occur on short notice and adaptations that we have to make to continue your education, and we'll be prepared to do that. So we will do our best to serve you and to protect you, at the same time recognizing that one of the things we are trying to teach you as physicians is the concept of duty to care. And you've seen what are now your colleagues continue to go to work on a daily basis in situations that put them at risk because of that function. So have fun. It'll go by in a blink, though it may not always feel that way. And best of luck. We look forward to seeing you throughout the year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Postel. And as I told you yesterday, we've made the fall difficult enough, the winter will start to seem normal. I'm delighted to invite the Honorary Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care, to welcome the class of 2025 on behalf of the province of Manitoba. Minister Gordon.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care for the province of Manitoba. I would like to begin by acknowledging that today's event is on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. It is my pleasure to send you greetings on behalf of Health and Seniors Care and the province of Manitoba. Thank you to Dr. Brian Postel and the rest of the faculty at the Max Rady College of Medicine for the gracious invitation to your inaugural day exercises. Today is a special day in your lives. You've worked hard to get to this point in your education and should recognize both these inaugural exercises and the white coat ceremony as significant steps on your journey to become physicians. The impact of the pandemic can be felt across the entire healthcare field and will have serious and long-lasting effects for years to come. The next generation of physicians will need to rise to the challenges of a post-pandemic Manitoba by learning the skills necessary to aid all Manitobans. In closing, I wish you all the best in your training and your future careers in healthcare. Whichever area in medicine you decide to pursue, I'm sure you will always ensure the well-being of your future patients by delivering safe and high-quality care. We look forward to working together in the years to come. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to invite President and Vice Chancellor Dr. Michael Benarosh to bring greetings on behalf of the University of Manitoba. Dr. Benarosh.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ripstein, for emceeing today. Thank you, Dr. Postel, for your words, and Minister Gordon for your words of encouragement to our students. And I also want to acknowledge Elder Lavallee for starting us off today with such a positive and important message to our students. And I want to welcome Dr. Gray, Dr. Gilmeck, and Bullard here today. And most importantly, hello class of 2025. It is really wonderful that you've chosen to start your medical careers here at the Max Rady College of Medicine. Today, you are all starting on really a remarkable journey of learning and discovery. You'll learn the fundamentals of medicine and medical practice, but you will no doubt learn much more about yourselves, who you are, and what you are made of over the coming years. You've really chosen a path that, though could be challenging at times, I hope it's one that leads to great satisfaction and important contributions to our society. Your medical training during the next several years will prepare you with the knowledge and job skills to face future challenges and allow you to enter your profession with a competitive edge. But in this pandemic, there are, however, challenges that medical professionals must face, from the efficacy of and our own safety as well. And medical professionals have not only been providing care through this pandemic, but they've actually been leading the effort to keep our society safe. Repeatedly, and we just saw it in this past week, medical professionals have publicly advocated on behalf of their patients and society for the implementation of safety measures grounded in science. The COVID-19 pandemic has raged throughout the world and has brought to life inequities in society. and it's taken full advantage of the problems facing healthcare around the world. Disparities between and within countries have been laid bare. Once again, COVID-19 knows no borders, but medical professionals have been advocating on behalf of the most vulnerable in our society. Dr. Postel just told you that our medical school was the first to introduce an anti-racism policy. And I believe that this reflects the school's belief that as medical professionals, but actually as everybody in society, we have a responsibility to call out racism in all its forms. I know that your medical education at the University of Manitoba will prepare you to take up the mantle of remedying these issues far across the globe. And I hope that many of you will answer this call. Above all, I want you to know that I'm proud of you all, proud that you have taken this bold step to make a difference in the world, whether here or at home. Thank you, Miigwech.
Our next speaker represents a critical partner for the Max Rady College of Medicine and our learners and trainees. I'm happy to invite Dr. Perry Gray, Provincial Lead Medical Specialist Services and Chief Medical Officer, to bring greetings on behalf of Shared Health. Dr. Gray.
Good morning, and welcome to you, the class of 2025. 41 years ago, I sat where you are sitting at a ceremony much like this. However, medicine has changed at a remarkable pace in the last 41 years. What we can do for patients has grown, not at a linear rate, but at an exponential rate. And I've had the privilege to participate in the care of patients and with my colleagues, and we can now do things we thought unimaginable 41 years ago. So if you have a passion for treating and caring for patients, I say to you with all sincerity that it has never been better to be you, to be where you are, a first-year medical student. I would love to trade places with you. You are going to be able to offer patients life, function, and hope in situations I only dream about. Because for the patient, there is no such thing as the good old days of medicine. For any and all patients, today is better than yesterday, but tomorrow will almost certainly be better. And that is the same for the physician who has a passion for patient care. It has never been better to be you, because you represent tomorrow. You are tomorrow's healthcare. You are the future. Now, better does not mean easy or easier. The more we can do for patients, the more patients expect from us. Medicine requires a team approach, a team of healthcare providers from different professions, and you, as a physician, will be part of that team. Medicine also continues to specialize. Increased specialization means multi-professional teams. Working alone continues to diminish. To best serve our patients, teams must be connected, supported, and integrated, not just in a hospital or a clinic, not just in a city. It must happen across the province. And that is the founding principle of shared health. You can have the best of the past and an even better future. You will have that individual one-on-one doctor-patient interaction. You will see and experience the benefit of a multi-professional team. You will be part of a system that further advances care so that one day, 30 years from now, if you still have that passion for treating patients, one of you will be standing in front of the class of 2055, wishing you could start again with them, because it will be better. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Gray. Our next speaker plays a key role in our profession of medicine. I'm happy to invite Dr. Anna Gilmeck, Registrar of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, to bring greetings on behalf of the college. Dr. Gilmeck.
Good morning. I'm Anna Gilmeck, the Registrar of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, and it is a privilege to welcome you, the class of 2025, to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. I wish I could have been there in person and met with each and every one of you. Unfortunately, COVID has changed many things for us, but I hope that we will be able to interact personally at some later date. You are now registrants of the college and must comply with our standards. Although you are students, the public will see you as physicians, albeit physicians in training, but nonetheless as physicians. Therefore, you represent the profession. People will expect more from you, and you will be expected to act accordingly. You are expected to comply with the Code of Ethics and Professionalism, which governs our entire profession. In so doing, you must demonstrate the virtues of compassion, humility, honesty, integrity, and prudence. Congratulations today on this very first day of the training that will take a number of years and will lead to you being practicing physicians. Again, congratulations and good luck. Welcome to the profession.
Thank you, Dr. Gilmeck. It's now my pleasure to introduce the distinguished alumnus who will give this year's Allen Class Memorial Address. Dr. Jared Bullard was born in Nassau, Bahamas, and moved to Winnipeg with his family at a young age. He's a product of Manitoba training, having graduated with his Doctor of Medicine, including a BSc Med in HIV immunology at the University of Manitoba in 2004. And he completed his pediatric and medical microbiology residencies and a fellowship in infectious diseases, all through the University of Manitoba. He's currently the section head of pediatric infectious diseases and serves as a liaison to the Manitoba HIV program for both pediatrics and laboratory medicine. Dr. Bullard is the Associate Medical Director of the CADM Provincial Laboratory, the Public Health Laboratory for the province of Manitoba, and is part of the team directing the provincial response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Bullard and his CADM Provincial Laboratory team have been working closely with members of the National Microbiology Laboratory to provide evidence to assist in key public health infection control and clinical decision-making around COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2. He is an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health and Medical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. His professional interests include pediatric HIV, congenital syphilis, prevention of perinatal transmission of sexually transmitted and bloodborne infections, and provincial patterns of use, and SARS-CoV-2 infectivity and diagnostics. He's both the Infectious Diseases and Medical Microbiology Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons Exam Committee. His personal interests include his family, his wife, Dr. Pamela Skrabek, and his children, Taya and Donovan, traveling, and a high level of sarcasm. It sounds like you have had enough jobs before the pandemic to sink a ship. So welcome, Dr. Bullard.
You all picked an interesting time to join the medical profession. I'll lead with that. I would like to thank Dr. Brian Postel for the honor of choosing me to provide you the incoming class of 2025 at the Rady Faculty of Health Science with the Alan Klaus Memorial Program Keynote Address. It's not often I get asked to share the stage with such an illustrious panel, and quite frankly, I'm not sure why I'm here. I know, self-deprecating humor is one of the things that I do, yeah. I think the reason I'm here is directly related to why it's an interesting time to be in medicine. For those who don't know me, you've already heard the introduction. I am a graduate of University of Manitoba, class of 2004, a pediatric infectious disease specialist, and a public health medical microbiologist and virologist. I do promise to be on my best behavior and will keep my profanity to a minimum. You always can join me for an early exposure in pediatric infectious diseases where you can see me at my profane best. And Dr. Postel, this was reviewed by my wife and given her approval, so it should be okay. If I didn't mention this up front, it would behoove me in my specialty. If you can get vaccinated, get vaccinated. Remember to use hand hygiene religiously and be aware of your touch points. If you're sick, stay home. That is something that we have struggled with in medicine for a very long time, and just this week I had rhinovirus and I knew it, and I stayed home and lost thousands of dollars. But that's okay, I still stayed home. The other thing, of course, is social distancing when you are able. All of these things are going to serve you in the pandemic. And of course, wear a mask when you can't socially distance. First, I want to congratulate you all for achieving the first step in your goals of becoming a doctor. Very few people appreciate the dedication, discipline, and sacrifice it takes to be sitting where you are. You should give yourselves a round of applause. I noticed it was quite quiet, so I'm assuming your orientation week celebrations have been enjoyed a little too liberally. Yeah, well, that's okay too. I remember how many times my friends would be going out during my undergraduate degree, and how I would choose, quite regretfully, to stay at home to study or go over a lab. The habits and skills you have acquired will serve you well. To the families of the students here today, you raised a doctor. A doctor. Maybe you are a doctor and your kid still chose to pursue a career in medicine. Your deception is now complete. Regardless, you should be proud that you have helped produce a person capable of becoming a doctor. It's not an easy task, and you should be commended. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are joined by the Honorable Audrey Gordon, the Minister of Health and Seniors Care. She is the first Black woman to have that position, and it matters. When I look into the audience, I see a diverse group of faces who will serve the people of this province. Patients will look at the physician and see themselves in you, and it matters. I was one of 2 Black medical students among a cohort of 300. I was the 14th Black man to graduate from the University of Manitoba with a medical doctorate. While my friend, colleague, sister, Dr. Talisha Smith-Gorvey was only the 2nd Black woman to do the same in 2005. I am particularly proud to see so many faces like mine in the audience today. I see you. Many of you aspired to become a physician to be able to help people. Some were drawn to the intellectual challenges. Then there are the plastic surgeons, dermatologists, and ophthalmologists among you. We know why you've chosen medicine. This will be some of the hardest years you will experience in your life and also the most rewarding. I know that's what we physicians say, but we mean it, mostly, except when we don't. You will journey through your first years learning that each exam and test you pass was the easiest exam you will take going forward. When you have finished your Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons exam, you will look fondly back at tests that took only 2 weeks to prepare for instead of an entire year. This is a time for successes and opportunities to learn in a forgiving environment. Take advantage of this time. Even when the content is not to your liking, pay attention to the teaching methods used by the faculty. They will be instructive in showing you ways to successfully teach about cardiac tamponade, Salter-Harris fractures, or RT-PCR diagnostics. You can also learn methods that should be avoided. Learn how to learn. It is difficult to transition from a learning environment where we focus on metrics and the final grades. We are used to being the best, and you are now in a room of the best. You are likely no longer the best, but together you will be better. Focus on understanding and problem solving. Try to avoid fretting about minute details. A thorough and comprehensive understanding of physiology, psychology, anatomy, immunology, and of course microbiology will serve you better than the trivial details of the most novel therapy that will be obsolete in a few years. Learn about cognitive bias and how to appreciate in yourself and others. It is your nemesis. Anecdote is not evidence. Practice becoming emotionally aware. In medicine, you will establish intimate relationships, and this can be emotionally charged. Recognize how your emotions impact your decisions and thoughts. Do not give in to fear, as it leads to anger, hate, and suffering. Nobody knows. Okay. Take time to relax when it presents itself and get to know your colleagues. Learn from each other's diversity and be able to openly discuss both your differences and similarities. The communication skills you master in forming bonds that will last a lifetime will serve you to talk to equally diverse patients. The soft skills should be a focus of your studies. Your classmates will become your best friends and teachers. You will find yourself consulting with them through your journey as a doctor and drawing from their strength. Go to Ice Bowl. Even if you can't skate and you don't know the rules of hockey, go to Ice Bowl. You never know. You may end up meeting your future spouse. When you go to Ice Bowl, you'll understand that so much better. But do go if you can. It is essential that you learn respect. Start by learning to respect yourself. Know your limits. When you don't know, say you don't know. Even better, preface your answer by saying, I don't know now, but I'll know tomorrow. Appreciate that you have finite personal resilience. When you have reached that limit, recognize it and ask for help. If you observe a problem within the system that leads to your resilience being repeatedly tested, let us know. Respect your colleagues, especially when you disagree with them. You are likely working toward a common goal, so keep that in mind. You'll be a key member of the healthcare team as a medical student. You will gather essential data and practice your physical exam skills, which is another key skill to master. You will care intensely that the family has a pet cat named Middens and that it prefers dry food to wet. I actually could care less if you tell me all of those details, except for they have a pet cat and if they actually happen to clean the litter box. The nurses and other members of the healthcare teams will teach you as much as the residents and faculty. Respect the nurses. Respect the nurses. Respect their opinion and guidance. You will see the dynamic with them change as your respect for each other grows. Disrespect them at your peril. Keep your mind open to the possibilities of your future. It's okay not to know what you want to do, and you may find that even if you are certain, one rotation can change your life. Find mentors, ask them questions, and experience different specialties. The more obscure specialties of public health and laboratory medicine have now become essential in how we deal with the pandemic. In closing, I will share a few quotes from my personal journey through the medicine that have hit home for me. So this one was provided by Dr. Abhay Devakar, a pediatric cardiologist, a brilliant, terrifying little man. And he said, in response to, I have to go to a teaching lesson, but I'd like you to see this consult, I'll come give you a teaching session. And that sounds terrifying, and it kind of was, but as a consultant, I can tell you that you should read the chart and know your patient and the pertinent details. Be prepared. You will learn more if you have thought about the clinical problem you're consulted about and you're prepared to discuss it. If you are on the medical or surgical team, you are responsible for knowing those patients even if they aren't your patient. Is their cat named Middens? Sometimes the hardest thing to do in medicine is to do nothing. And so this was provided by Dr. Milton Tenenbean during a rotation on pediatric emergency to me. Patients will have an expectation that you will help them. Many will expect treatments or investigations as an outcome of their encounter with you. That may not be the help they need, and it is important to minimize the unnecessary. You will find that these are often the hardest conversations to have because not doing something is hard for most of us. And finally, this is courtesy of Dr. Pamela Skrabic, when she was an internal medicine senior resident talking to a medical student trainee when she asked to provide feedback for how to improve. Her statement was, "Be better." And so this is something that gets thrown around in my house a lot. It isn't as savage as it seems. Be a better version of yourself the next day. Sometimes you will not be your best. Try to be better the following day. I have personally applied this concept during the pandemic while cycling through the 5 stages of grief. You are the future of medicine. We look forward to having you as students, colleagues, and friends. The members of the Faculty of Medicine and I look forward to meeting you. You may not realize it, but you will have a lot to teach us as well. Oh, and learn how to unmute on Zoom. It's that little microphone in the corner. We can't hear you if you don't unmute. It's really not that hard. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. We're so pleased you were able to join us in person to welcome the class of 2025 and share your perspective as a young leader with our province's future physicians. It's now time for an award announcement. The Alan Lipson Memorial Award in Medicine is awarded to a student who has demonstrated participation and leadership through volunteer and extracurricular activities, either in the Max Rady College of Medicine or the community at large. This year's recipient is Ms. Nada Altobgi, class of 2022. Congratulations, Ms. Altobgi. We now move on to the white coat ceremony for the Max Rady College of Medicine, class of 2025. Through ceremonies and ritual, society passes on its values and publicly acknowledges the importance of certain transitions in the lives of its members. Such events provide inspiration and help to outline society's expectations. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation White Coat Ceremony welcomes entering medical students and helps establish a psychological contract for the practice of medicine. This event emphasizes the importance of compassionate care for patients as well as scientific proficiency. The White Coat Ceremony was initiated on August 20th, 1993 at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Currently, a White Coat Ceremony or similar event takes place at a majority of Canadian and American medical schools and internationally. Typically at this point, I would ask the cloakers, special guests, and members of the deanery to step forward, and 10 students at a time would come up on stage to be cloaked with their white coats for the first time. But since nothing this year is typical, students will be stepping up in groups of 2 or 3 and putting their white coats on themselves for the first time. Don't worry, parents. We have a U of M photographer present who will be taking photos of each group of 3 in their white coats, and we will be sharing these photos with all students. The cloaking of the class of 2025 begins with the first 3 students. It's actually 2 students in the first group because 55 is not divisible by 3. Deeridge Paul Ball, Evan Abram. Callum Barnes, Sarah Baldwin. Jaden Borley, Sirit Boparai, Kirsten Bigger. Samara Chernick, Albert Chen, Eric Buxman. Abigail Chachanov, Kelly Cook, and Mackenzie Cullen. Roman Dascal, Cameron Cherney, and Marlon de Leon. Bhavanjot Dhaliwal, Nicola DePape, Sarah Dean. Maya Doucette, Stephen Dick, Jennifer Duff. Jennifer Egan, Mariana Fast, and Kirsten Fleury. Rebecca Fraze, Laura Friesen, and Nicholas Ferletti. Alon Golubchuk, Flynn Gallardo, and David Fuss. Anna Marie Goitan, Micah Grubert van Eiderstein, and Braden Griggs. Caitlin Hansen, Emmett Hamid, and Carrie Gu. Cassidy Grant, Mackenzie Hoy, and Kristen Herman. Mortaza Joffrey, Jody Jacobs, and Shannon Jackson. Manu Jagdeo, Jacob Jensen, and Sarah Johnson. Nathan Lee Wing, Natasha Kuzik, and Deepinder Kumar. Franklin Liu, Christian Liebzeit, and Alana Lewandowski. J.C. Liu, Stephen Liu, and Daniel Lysak. I'd now like to call upon Dr. Postel and ask all the students and physicians in the audience to rise for the physician's pledge.
Are you ready? Let's begin. As a member of the medical profession, you're supposed to be reading this. We'll start over together. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to the service of humanity, the health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. Respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain utmost respect for human life. I will not permit consideration of age, disease, disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty. I respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. Practice my profession in accordance with good medical practice. I'll foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I'll give to my teachers, colleagues, and students respect and gratitude as due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights. Thank you. You can be seated. So thanks very much. That brings to a close the ceremony. You're about to undertake a pretty strenuous orientation process that's, of course, also been altered to quite an extent by COVID. It's an important set of information for you about how things work and where things are and how to access services that you might need throughout your stay. Our experience, of course, has been that your catecholamine levels are a little high for this week, and your memory of what you get told in this week is pretty minimal. I'm sure Dr. Bullard has no memory of his orientation week. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to seek out services and supports. They are there for you. And enjoy both this week. We do start your term work with a little bit of accommodation to recognize you're just gearing up. Don't assume that's the way it stays, because I can assure you it does not. So get yourself ready, get prepared, start gearing up, start thinking about what it's going to take to maintain a pretty heavy workload. And of course, amongst all of the things you have to remember is to enjoy it, get to know your colleagues, and we're hoping you'll be able to land with your feet running in a week or two, and we'll proceed with the rest of the year. Thank you very much, and thank you to all your families for attending virtually. Thank you.